Well, the president today saying that he's working with South American nations in assisting with Venezuela's humanitarian crisis. President Trump called the situation an example of what socialism produces.
We're working with Colombia, we're working with Brazil, we're working with other countries on a humanitarian basis. Venezuela's in very sad shape. That shows you about socialism. I mean, that shows you what happens. You take a country that was so wealthy 15 years ago, and today they don't have water and they don't have basic food.
Well, the president also making it clear that the largest country in South America, Brazil, should expand their trading relationship with the United States. The president calling for a free trade relationship between Brazil and the United States. I sat down with the Brazilian foreign minister to talk about the possibilities that President Trump has put forward, and he and President Bolsonaro's shared vision for the two countries. We're joined now by the Foreign Minister of Brazil, Ernesto Araújo. Great to have you with us, and welcome to Fox Business. We want to start with first the relationship between the United States and Brazil, the two largest countries in this hemisphere. It's an extraordinary opportunity. The president says he wants to see a strong, significant relationship with Brazil. Your thoughts?
Great to be here, Lou. That's the moment to build the relationship we always wanted to. Brazilians always wanted to the United States. Brazilian governments for a long time denied that possibility. They assumed anti-American stances, but the natural thing to do was always to have a strong partnership. Our diplomatic tradition, the good diplomatic tradition, is that Brazil wants to be a big player in the world, and for that you need a strong relationship with the United States. So we want to go that way.
Brazil has always, historically, as you suggest, been oriented toward the European Union. It has also been politically, ideologically, far more leftist than the United States. That, with the election of the Bolsonaro government, that is obviously changing. How critical is that to succeeding in building a strong trading relationship, a strong relationship between the United States and Brazil?
Yes, we're changing the whole economic and political approach that was wrong, that gave us maybe 40 years of economic stagnation, of corruption, of inefficiency, partly because we try to follow, let's say, the welfare state model without the means, without being able to afford it. But that was because of some sort of intellectual elite, not because of the Brazilian people. Brazilian people identify much more, I think, with the American way. They want to be entrepreneurs, they want to be free, they want to have an open economy, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. And that's the way for us to break that cycle of stagnation and corruption.
It's interesting because the presidents of the United States and Brazil are two men who are populist, who are reorienting their countries and their economic systems and their national perspectives toward balanced trade, a representation of the people of both countries in their government rather than of the elites. And globalism has become, in point of fact, a dirty word, certainly in discussions with this government, and I take it in discussions with your government as well.
That's right. I think we have two leaders, two great presidents who want to build strong nations, strong economies, and we want to connect with each other to have that. For Brazil, certainly this would be immensely important for the project that we have of an open, competitive economy and for freedom across the world, across our region and the world. And the globalist mainstream, so to say, doesn't like President Trump, doesn't like President Bolsonaro, because they know what we stand for. We stand for basically ruling for the people. That should be what democracy is about. For some reason, we have those elites that through the media in Brazil and maybe in Europe, elsewhere, try to control what people want. In Brazil, we have a very clear situation like that. You have the government, and then you have a smoke screen that is the media that tries to hide what we're doing, but the people are watching, and we want to work for the people.
Yeah, the president has branded most of our national leftist media as fake news.
Yes.
And the American people and the Brazilian people, neither are fools, and they see what is happening and where their leaders would like to redirect their economies and indeed their countries. And it's an exciting prospect for both. There are some details in that. One is national security for Brazil and for the United States, and for the role of the two countries in this hemisphere. As we are looking at Cuba, we're looking at Venezuela, and both the disappointment of their economic and ideological models, but also some of their aggression that they try to extend throughout the hemisphere.
Yes, that's a big concern for us. We want to stand for freedom across the hemisphere, for real, not just in words. And we want to get rid of dictatorships in this hemisphere. For a moment, it looked like dictatorships and totalitarian regimes were on the wane across the hemisphere, but they always find a way of trying to come back. So we want to partner with the U.S., with other democratic countries across the region to help Venezuelans recover their democracy. We have to address other non-democratic countries in the region and the nefarious role they play. And that's not only for solidarity, so to say, but because we want to live in a safe region. And this region will only be safe, this hemisphere will only be safe, if we get rid of those left-wing totalitarian regimes.
Mr. Foreign Minister, it's an exciting a moment in the history of both Brazil and the United States. We look forward to talking to you a great deal more in the future. Thanks so much.
Likewise. Thank you very much for the privilege.
Good to see you.